Good day, gentlemen. James Marshall here. Now, this year I'm coming on to 18 years of being a professional dating coach. That's right, nearly 20 years of being out on the streets around the planet, coaching men on how to get good at day game. And although, of course, there are individual nuances for every single person, what I have seen over the years is that there are common mistakes, common patterns of behavior that men who are first starting out at this tend to exhibit and that don't help them. So in today's episode, I'm going to be looking at 8 major beginner's mistakes when it comes to day game, and of course, how to fix them. Let's get into it. Before we get into today's content, a very quick reminder, which is that tomorrow, the 13th of July, I'm opening enrollments for my new program, which is called the 5 Principles of Natural Seduction Brotherhood. This is a 6-month mentorship program where you get to have me as your personal guide through the delicate and difficult first stages of becoming competent and later on masterful at day game style seduction. So stay tuned for some more information about that and look out for the launch happening in 24 hours from now. So what I thought I'd do today is, as I'm going through these 8 common mistakes, is I'll show you a bunch of clips of previous students of mine, usually in the beginning stages of their workshops, so when they're just first fumbling and figuring things out, to exemplify, here's what you shouldn't be doing, and we'll be showing you some examples of what you should be doing. And by the end of this, hopefully you'll be able to clean up a bunch of the blind spots that might be holding you back. So let's get into that. The first issue that I want to look at is the first impression. Now, you've all heard the phrase, the first impression counts, or first impressions count, and they definitely do, and they very much do when it's a random male approaching a random unknown female on the street and trying to get in her pants. What happens in those very first microseconds and seconds will determine whether or not she's going to stop and talk to you at all, and will also determine whether the interaction starts with her being weirded out, freaked out, possibly scared by you, or whether she's starts the interaction with a charming stranger just gliding in front of her, nestling in at just the right pace, at right angle, and delivering his opener in a way that's smooth and sexy, so that the first impression she has of you is my hero. So, let's have a look at this clip here of one of my students, Malte, doing possibly the worst thing that you could do when it comes to trying to physically stop a girl on the street. So we'll show it to in normal motion, and then we'll do a slow motion replay so you can see if you can see what's going on here.
Can you? I just saw you walking by, and I think you have a really cool jacket.
Thank you very much.
And I wanted to meet you.
Hurry.
You're in a hurry?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh. Do you know where you have to go? Because first you went...
Yes, she definitely knows where she has to go. She has to go away. All right, so what went wrong there? Well, let's look at that again in slow motion and see why this girl was not only not interested, but freaked out. All right, so he steps in front. She pauses. As you can see, she starts to take a step away, and he starts to move in to block her exit. She's blocked up against the back of the wall. She changes direction, pivots, and then he's doing those side steps, getting in the way of her. And once again, she takes another directional change until she finally manages to make good her escape. So the issue here, obviously, is that as he's trying to stand in front of her to talk to her, and she's taking steps in one direction, and he's not thinking about this, he's unconscious, because he's just got his head locked into her head, and as her head moves somewhere else, he's like, well, I'll follow the head. Not realizing that he's, because this guy wouldn't hurt a fly. He's a very lovely dude, not dangerous in any capacity at all. But her perception is, some random person came up to her, said something to me, and I didn't think I wanted to be here, so I tried to get away, and then he blocked my exit. And then I moved again, and then he blocked my exit. You do that once or twice, now that girl is scared of you. It doesn't matter if you're a wonderful, kind person and what your intentions are. Perception is reality, and her reality is there's a stranger who won't let me walk past her. There's no fucking way in hell that you're going to be able to damage control that and turn that into a seduction. She is now in at least moderate fear, and all she can think about is getting away. Right, so this is an absolute no-no, and I've seen it many, many times, and most of the time it's just a guy, he's not maliciously trying to do it, I'm going to stop her, she's not getting past me, he's just in his head locked onto her eyes, and his body just drifts to stay in front of her, and it's something you must not do. Once you run up to approach her, whether it's her walking towards you or she's walking away from you or she's standing still somewhere. Yes, I want to try and get in front of her most of the time, right? That's ideally what I want to do, but we have to be flexible and we have to deal with the fact that around half the time I've seen where you approach a girl who's walking down a street, you get in front of her, the first thing that she does is step around you and keep moving. Let's say half the time that might happen, which is totally fine. There is a very specific technique that we can use to deal with that, but trying to block or exit or moonwalk or parry side to side is not the thing to do. Get this one? This is an absolute deal breaker. There'll be some of these where you can do it once or twice and it's a little bit of a fuck up, but it's not going to destroy the interaction. This one definitely do. This definitely does. And as I said, first impressions count. And if her first impression is dangerous man won't let me pass, that's not the right type of dangerous guy that you want to be. This next example, if you were to listen to the audio of this, it's actually a pretty decent interaction and his body language is cool. It doesn't look like there's anything wrong. There's a big vagina coming towards the screen. But the problem here is essentially in terms of where the woman is in relation to an obstacle. So this girl is standing in front of a wall and our client has walked up and stood directly in front of her. Now that's totally fine when there's a big open space behind her, if you're in the middle of a street, for example, or a park or something. Okay, yes, I want to stand directly in front of her generally. But if she's up against a wall or she's sitting down on a bench, squatting somewhere where there's like a barrier behind her, and I come and stand directly in front of her, what that feels like is that, again, that she's being physically blocked. And if she's sitting down, that there's some guy looming over her, or if she's standing, that she's got her back against the wall and there's no easy or evident way for her to move out of this interaction. And so even if you go over and you deliver in a perfect opener and you're super charming and smooth and all that, I mean, it may work. And in this interaction, this specific girl didn't seem to mind too much. She felt pretty confident, but I've certainly seen it many times where you can see the girl like looking for a way out. Like maybe she doesn't necessarily want to take one right now, but she wants to know she has one, that she can politely excuse herself if she wishes. So in that situation, if you're approaching a girl who's standing against a something, then you approach her from the 45 or 42 or 46, within that kind of angled age range, so that as you're talking to her, she's got space behind her that she can retreat to, and she's got this sense of open psychological space, which then makes her relax and get into the interaction. So, very important point. So now let's look at a quick example of myself in field doing things perfectly, obviously, flawlessly. In this interaction, girl's walking towards me, I'm walking towards her, and I try to do my patented Jedi stop. So there's kind of two primary ways to stop a girl on the street. One, when she's walking away from you, where you run and then you jump in front of her, Sasha Day Game, London, Oxford Street stop style. Or the one where she's walking towards you, where you don't want to be walking directly towards her, because then she's going to see you as something that's blocking her. But what I do, I think you can see it clearly enough in this interaction. I place my hand out, she's walking here, I place my hand out around stomach height. I say something like, stop a minute, or excuse me lady, and then I slide to that side, and then I drop my hand, and then there I am in front of her. So, in this interaction, you'll see me attempting to do that, the Jedi stop, but she doesn't stop. She sweeps around my hand and keeps moving. And you'll notice how it is that I handle this. I definitely don't step in front of her and try and block her. What you'll see is that I pivot on a dime and walk with her and continue like nothing's happened, and it's pretty smooth, actually, and I think it's pretty awesome. So, check it out.
Excuse me.
All right, I make my request, put my hand out. She doesn't stop. I turn and I just walk along with her, saying a little joke, and immediately she loves it. Let's now look at an example of the same client, Malta, after a day of having this whipped into him about what to do, and now you see him doing the correct thing.
Okay, you on the move?
Yeah, I'm going somewhere.
Okay, I'll just walk with you 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Turns and
chat,
walks
and
along.
then I'll let you go.
And now he's in the
what's
zone.
your name?
The next common mistake is talking too damn fast, especially at the beginning. This is a really common thing that most guys that come to workshops do on the first and second day until we've beaten it out of them. And basically this happens because of two reasons. One, you're elevated, like you're nervous, your body is activated, and so everything's happening faster. And secondarily, because a lot of the time what the guy's trying to do in those first few seconds is convince the girl to stay, right? So instead of going, hey, excuse me, you're looking lovely today, it's in some kind of pace like that, they're like, I've got to do my entire pitch in one breath because otherwise she's going to explode out of there. excuse me, I just saw you from over there and I thought that you looked really cute and you're having a great day today and I'm James and I wanted to meet you. Which is not a sexy prospect. Most of the time she won't hear most of that because she's barely just registered that there's a man in front of her, and it certainly doesn't set a chill tone for the interaction, right? I've just set the speed, that now we're going at warp speed, 5x speed, and then to try and like chill that down into something that's kind of seductive is going to be a major gear shift. So let's have a look at one of the prime offenders at this, which is Zeb when he first came to the workshop, and you'll see what he used to sound like and then what he sounds like later after we've put him on opium.
I'm actually not here because I want to buy something from you. I wanted to say you look cute. I like your glasses. What's your name? Are you wandering around? Is your boss watching?
Just peppering.
Make you feel awkward?
Oh, making you feel awkward? Definitely feel awkward.
Continue with your thing. Have a nice day.
And off she goes and has a nice day. More.
Hi. Excuse me. I just like the way you were walking. You're very stylish, very elegant. You seem a little shy. Are you Hungarian? No? Where are you from?
Too many words in a very short amount of time. How do you solve this one? You slow the fuck down. Good one to record yourself in field and listen back to your interactions, and especially compare how fast you're speaking to how fast the lady is speaking. Now, I'm not saying that every conversation needs to be at a Snoop Dogg pace. Of course, we will adjust and change the pace of our speech, and if we're both getting excited and ranting about something together, then I might be speaking in a faster and more animated way. But especially at the beginning, I want to be powerful and slow to create that movie moment. So let's look at how Zeb, and the change in this is quite startling. This is, I don't know, a couple of days later, once we've drilled this into him. And, you know, sometimes for guys, you need to basically tell them to talk as if they were in a video clip, like that they were literally speaking in slow motion. And yes, that's going to sound weird to the girl, definitely. But it'll only be a different type of weird to the guy who comes and machine guns syllables at her. So if you need to do that to really get yourself to rein yourself in and then, okay, loosen it up and speak a bit more human-like, that would be the process that you would go through to fix that. So let's look at Zeb now. He's cool and chill and slow.
Hi.
Pause, does a perfect turn and walk along.
You look very cute.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Where are you off to on this sunny Sunday?
At home.
Going home?
At home.
Just to relax? Are you off work?
Relax.
Nice. Says hi, leaves a big gap. Does the turn and walk with her, creates a little tension, then gets into his mad, how you going, what's going on today type of stuff. The vibe is chill, the vibe is sexy, and it pays off.
Happy to meet you.
I'm happy to meet you too. Before you go, I will be in Budapest a few more days. Maybe I can take you out for coffee sometime.
Can. Yes. Beginner issue number 3 is related to preframes. There's quite a bit of confusion about what a preframe is and what is the point of it and when should I use it, when not. We'll answer all those things now, probably, most of them anyway. So a preframe is basically creating a context and a reason for you being there in the first place. Now you may have heard kind of classical preframes, which would be canned ones. For example, don't worry, I'm not crazy, or I'm not trying to sell you anything, but I just wanted to say you are blah, blah, blah. So those are examples of preframes, but it's not defined by these two examples. Essentially, what you want to be doing in an interaction or just prior to your interaction is quickly scanning the scenario and seeing what's going on here and is there something that it would be advantageous for me to call out. For example, the girl is carrying 2 huge shopping bags and a yoga mat strapped around her back and a cockatoo on her shoulder just for good measure. And you can go, okay, what's the context is she's carrying a bunch of shit. So if I go over and I just walk up and go, hey, you look super sexy today and what's your name? And I'm not really acknowledging that she's carrying 2 huge bags of shopping, then I'm not a socially calibrated man. However, if I was to say, excuse me, you've got a whole lot going on there and those shopping bags look heavy, do you mind just putting them down for a second? I wanted to introduce myself. Right? That is a preframe because it says, here's the context, I'm socially intelligent, I get where you're at. Girls, running along in the rain. If I roll up and they're like, hey, I just wanted to come over here and say how sexy. She's like, I'm trying to get out of the rain, asshole. Instead, if I go over and I say, hey, look, I know it's raining and you probably don't want to get your hair wet. Can we just go under this, what do you call those things? The veranda, we call them in Australia. I don't know what Americans call them. Let's go under this veranda for a moment so we can chat. I'm calling out the situation. And so again, I'm showing that I understand the context and why I need to adjust to it. The classic one of, don't worry, I'm not trying to sell you anything, or don't worry, I'm not a pickpocket or something. These are really relevant when you're in a dense city center where people are trying to convert you to stuff and sell you stuff and take things out of your pocket, right? So because the reaction that people might have in those scenarios where there's Hare Krishnas and salesmen around the place is the moment someone comes over to them, they think that they're begging or selling, and so they get rid of it. So it makes sense in that situation to diffuse that objection before it even comes up. Excuse me, don't worry, I'm not trying to sell you anything, but I just have to say blah, blah, blah. Okay, that one makes sense there. Another time where it's like, you don't always have to use pre-frames. I'll show you an example in here where sometimes, I don't know, you're standing somewhere, a girl walks out of the shop door, or you're in some kind of thoroughfare where there's not a lot going on. She walks past and you go, hey, what's up? What's your name? There's no context except that I'm just being friendly and forward and I'm making a connection. Yes, we can absolutely do that. So to use or not use pre-frames more or less comes down to what is going on in the environment. In this next clip with Constantine, you'll see a situation where you definitely should use a pre-frame. And that's where a girl is by herself. In this situation, she's in the middle of a kind of park area. There's nothing around, right? So there's no excuse that I was, we're on a busy street corner and I just turn around the corner and there's the girl. I'm like, hey, what's up? It's obvious in this situation that he had to run all the way across this field to go and approach the girl. So it's kind of weird to like bolt down the street for 200 meters, jump in front of the girl and go, hi, so how you going? You look cute. Because it's like, what are you doing here? Where did you just come from? What is this? All right, so instead, if you actually give it context, then it would work. So let's have a look at this example where it don't. So he's following all the way across the park and then just a casual,
Hey there.
hey, here I am.
How are you doing? Wait, you said Bruno? Oh, okay, you're from here, right?
And then it doesn't get off to the best start. Right, so yeah, it's this thing of just like I'm running all the way across the field to just like, hey, I'm just a guy, just having a bit of a chat. Instead, what should he have done in that situation? Or, okay, there's a girl walking along the promenade on a beach or somewhere where there's no one else around. I need to refer back to the fact that I just ran over here, basically. So I do my run, I jump in front and say, excuse me, I saw you from way back there and I just had to run all this way to meet you because you look incredible. I'm James, for example. Right? Or jump, excuse me, I just need to catch my breath for a moment. I've just run after you for about 200 meters and I don't do that much cardio, so give me a second. But I'm here to say, you're fucking sexy. What's your name? Okay, so there, again, I'm showing that there is a context that I understand. I've kind of broken the social rules of not chasing someone 200 meters down the street, so I'm acknowledging that I'm doing that, and then it should be totally okay. Now, here's a little example of me doing more or less the same thing where I've chased a girl. Chased doesn't sound right, does it? Pursued? No. Hunted? No. Went in the same direction as a girl, and then you'll see me using the pre-frame to kind of explain the context.
Excuse me.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, well,
Sorry.
that's all right. I was walking that way, and then
Yeah.
I didn't have any real reason to be going that way, and I saw you, and I thought you looked nice, so I came back to meet you.
Oh, thank you.
That's my story.
That's my story, and I stand by it. Now let's look at a couple more examples of myself and students doing pre-frames correctly, both using the canned, prepared kind of pre-frame and also ones that are dynamic and specific to the situation. So reading the scenario and going, okay, here's what's in front of me, here's what I'm going to call out.
Hi. Excuse me, not selling anything. Just wanted to say you look very, very different and very nice. I really like your clothes.
Thank you.
Hi. How are you? Good. I can see you're about to ride away, so I thought I'd better, stop you before you, because I can't keep up, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you doing right now?
So conclusion there, whenever she's in the middle of nowhere and you run towards her, tell her that you ran towards her, because she knows you didn't just teleport in there. If you're in situations where there is something going on, the girl's wheeling a bicycle out, she's got a puppy that she's just tripped over something, she's on the phone, right? The pre-frame to get a girl off the phone is to go like this, excuse me, I know you're on the phone, can you call them back? And you'll be amazed that that will work sometimes, which is amazing. Like, I mean, it works Sometimes. I don't know what that means. Like 3 out of 10, 5 out of 10, it actually does work. Whereas if I walked over to someone who's on the phone and said, hey, I just saw you from there and I thought you're really sexy, I'm rude and I'm completely unaware of what's going on in my surroundings. Or if the girl's wearing headphones and I go like this, that's my pre-frame. It's now a mimed pre-frame, which is, I see that you are listening to noise-cancelling headphones and you'll need to remove them so you can hear my mad riz. Or any other situation where there's something going on in the scenario, better to call it out because it shows her, okay, this guy is doing something crazy. He is not a crazy person. This next mistake is one of my pet peeves because I have to listen to it so many times on the microphone. I will play it first and see if you can guess what it is.
Where are you headed?
Home.
Home. Birthday for a friend, for a family? What's going on?
For my boyfriend.
For your boyfriend?
Yeah.
Amazing. What are you up to? Are you waiting for Marosh?
No, I'm just going home.
You're going home. You get anything good? You think so?
Hope so.
I hope so.
Are you a student or are you working?
I'm a student.
You're a student. So are you a student or are you working?
No, I'm working.
You're working?
The habit I'm referring to is repeating back what the girl said. There's been thousands of interactions where I've been listening to this and you'll get away with doing it once, right? Like you say, so where are you from? I'm from Madagascar. Ah, from Madagascar. One of those is okay. But I often hear it happen more or less like this, if not this exaggerated within the space of a conversation. So what's the plans today? Oh, just chilling. Just chilling. Cool. So are you studying or working at the moment? I'm working. You're working? Ah, cool. And you got any hobbies, things that you're into? I'm into fitness. Fitness? What type of fitness are you into? CrossFit. CrossFit. And on. Right? It sounds very bizarre. It's not good. Why would somebody do that? And I've had students say before, oh, I'm just checking, just to double check that. I'm like, no, like, yes, sure. If she says something, you're like, so what do you do? And she says, I'm a Nietsvoort. And you said, you're a what? Sorry? A Nietsvoort. A Nietsvoort? I don't know what that is. If you actually don't hear the word, then yes, you can repeat it or get clarification, but that's not usually what's happening. It's just people filling in air. And the reason it's done is because the man thinks that he needs to fill every single second of silence, and that is not the case. The answer or the solution to this problem is very simple. Shut the fuck up. Say nothing. Like she says something, instead of saying what she already said, because she knows that, she just said it. She already knows that, and she's already beaten you to it. Like maybe you wanted to say it, maybe it was a cool thing that you thought you were going to say, but she said it first, so you just have to let her have it. She said it, so you don't say it. Instead, you don't say anything. You shut up and you wait for you just don't say anything. It's really easy. Instead of saying something, you just say nothing. You get the point. So where are you from? Madagascar. Shut up. Fuck, where is Madagascar? I think it's off the coast of Africa. What do I know about it? I think they speak Malagay, and there was some pirates who used to live there at some point. I don't know anything about Madagascar. This all happened in that 1 second silence, by the way. Wow, I've never met anyone from Madagascar before. What's it like? Good? Yeah, see where I get paid the big bucks? What do you usually do on a Sunday afternoon? I like to make pancakes. I was about to say I like to make pancakes, or no. Awesome. You are the person that I want to spend my next Sunday with. Are you a sweet or savory pancake kind of person? And then we move on, right? Very important. Again, this is one of these kind of delivery mistakes that you probably won't notice by yourself, right? A good reason to come and do coaching from me, either in real life or the online version, the 5 Principles of Natural Seduction Brotherhood, being released tomorrow, and or record yourself and listen back. And if you find yourself saying the things she already said, it's bad. Get rid of it. Remember, what do you do instead? A brief interruption. Tomorrow, I'm opening enrollments for the 5 Principles of Natural Seduction Brotherhood. Enrollments will only be open for 7 days, after which I close the doors and move on to coaching the guys in the course. So stay tuned for the announcement video coming out tomorrow. The 5 Principles is my magnum opus. This is everything that I have ever learned, experimented, and taught in relation to natural style seduction, from the deeper philosophical and psychological understandings through to the very real world and practical applications. This is your full toolkit for getting this sorted, for mastering the art of natural style seduction. And very importantly, what I've added to this course is a whole lot of interactive components, because the first weeks, months of you going out and attempting to get good at this are the most delicate. This is the beginner's hell. This is where so many guys dabble, go and do a couple of approaches or think about it, and then they don't get the results they want instantly, and they feel a bit embarrassed and scared, and they give up and they don't do it ever again, which is a tragedy, because you're robbing your future self of incredible relationships, sex, and adventures that you could get by just moving through this, what appears to be really difficult initial stages, but most of it is in your mind. So I will be there to discipline you, to give you missions, to give you accountability, to actually be able to take your infield recordings, which you send to me, and critique them like I would in a live workshop, to be able to give you real feedback on your interactions so that you're not repeating some of these mistakes or any of the other ones that you might be making, and are making sure that every approach leads to progress as opposed to every approach is leading you to frustration. So if you'd like to join me and a small cohort of men from around the world for this groundbreaking course where you can work with me from anywhere in the world, and I can make sure that over this next 6-month period that you get this sorted, that you are on dates, that you are getting the types of women that you want, that you're breaking through your fears, that you're learning the skill sets and the mindsets that you need, then you should join me. So stay tuned tomorrow for the official launch. And now, back to the video. Mistake number 5. What do you do when a girl says that she's got to go? You stopped her, you're trying to say hi, and she says, I've got to go somewhere right now. The reality is, most of the time, people have got to go. People have got places to go to get to. If you're trying to stop someone in a public thoroughfare, then yeah, they're on their way somewhere usually. So it's going to happen a lot, probably around 50% of the time, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's over, right? So the girl says, you say, hi, I think you're cute, whatever. And she says, oh, sorry, I've got to go. But she says it in a way which is not with a fuck you kind of undertone. It's just like, I'm going somewhere. There is a good way and a bad way to deal with this. The bad way is as follows.
Do you have a time to stop for a minute?
Sorry, but I need to hurry.
Okay. 2 seconds.
All right. So once again, Zeb's trying to get some time with the lady, and he says to her, do you have time to talk to me for a minute? And she says, no. And he says, just two seconds. So what's happening here is he's begging for her time. Never do this, right? It's not I mean, look, in this interaction, weirdly enough, she actually did stop and talk to him, and he even got a number. So sometimes these are one of those mistakes that you might be able to get away with and put the trains back on the train tracks, as they say, or as I just said. But it's not ideal. So never be the one to say, can we have a conversation? Do you mind if we talk for a while? Or even, I want to get to know you, because that sounds like an obligation. You go up to someone and say, hey, excuse me, I thought you looked really cute. I wanted to get to know you. That's a commitment, getting to know someone. That can take a while. She has to agree in advance that she's going to do this whole conversation. Same kind of thing. Excuse me, I saw you from over there. I just came over here and I wanted to say, you're looking spectacular today. Do you have 5 minutes for us to have a chat, to get to know each other? No one wants to do that. It's like she doesn't know yet whether she wants to spend the 5 minutes. So don't ask in advance, just to start talking. Just start getting to know her. Don't tell her you're going to get to know her. Get to know her by doing it. Now, if you start talking and she says, I got to go, then the way that we deal with that is by acknowledging this situation. Okay, you have to go. Well, in that case, we propose a solution, which is simply to walk along with her. Right? So the way that you propose that is you say, she says, oh, look, sorry, I have to go. Oh, okay, in that case, let's walk a little together and we can chat while you walk, right? Or, oh, okay, well, in that case, do you mind if I just walk with you to the end of the block? And I use a specific time constraint here. I'll just walk with you for 1 minute, or I'll walk with you to the end of this street, right? So that she knows then, okay, she's kind of committing to a very short conversation for a minute or for a block. It's not because if I just say, oh, okay, no worries, well, I'll just walk with you then. How long? Forever? To my doorstep? To my bedroom? Right? So if I just say I'm just going to basically follow you indefinitely, that's not good. So I just adjust to the situation. Okay, you're in a rush. Well, in that case, let's walk a little and chat. What's your name? And then I just move into the interaction. So that's how you want to deal with this specific scenario. This next mistake is another one of my particular pet peeves when I hear it on the microphones. And it is called the bumbling phone caper. And what this is where a guy's asked for the number and the girl's giving the number, and then he starts talking about the phone. And I hear this a lot. Now, to be fair, it usually happens when the guy is traveling in a new country, and so he's got a new SIM card, or he's, trying to work out the different keyboard or whatever. But that's no excuse. And the other time that this happens is when a guy has just gotten an Instagram, because we've told him you have to have Instagram. I don't want to spend all day online either. I hate Instagram. I'm with you on this. But you need to have it, and you need to have 12 photos minimum, because it's a resume for your dick, right? If you're going to go and approach girls and try to close them, there'll be many times where they don't want to give you the number or the WhatsApp, but they will happily give you the Instagram, and you're like, that's worth nothing. No, it's not. It might be worth less, but it's not worthless. It's a way for her to look at your profile and go, oh, okay, cool. He's a man who has a life and a friend and a dog and a mum, and he went on that cool thing, and he's not rigid and going like this, and he doesn't have 6 photos at the same work party with only dudes in it, or 6 photos of him holding fish, or flexing, or patting a drugged out tiger. None of those are good. Right, so anyway, there's my pitch on why you should have Instagram and then never look at it. I just upload once a blue moon and then I never look at it, but I know the girls do. I know the ladies do. Anyway, so I've heard this many times where the guy does something along the lines of, oh, let's swap Instagrams, cool. And then he goes, he starts bumbling and talking about the phone and the Instagram. Oh, I just got Instagram and haven't really figured it out yet. I'm new to this kind of thing. It's this kind of Hugh Granty, like, oh, I'm just a bit of a bumbling fool and who's this? Is that my dick? Oh, didn't even know. Like, as if it's somehow charming and endearing that you don't know how to use your phone or how to use social media. It's not. If you don't know how to use it, just shut up about it and figure it out. If she's like, oh, how do I add? And you're like, then you're like, I just got Instagram. I don't even know how it works. Yeah, let's see if we can figure it out. Okay, if there's a problem that we can figure out, but not this like, oh, I'm giving a running narrative of what it's like to use my phone. And here's a prime example of it.
The keyboard in Hungarian always confuses me. I have the Spanish and French keyboard on my phone too, and sometimes I can't figure out where the keys are.
She doesn't care. Nobody cares if it's a Spanish or a French keyboard. What is he trying to say? That he travels a lot, or that he's just, there's so many... Just no! You just hand the phone, because another reason why guys do this is they're releasing pressure in a pressurized moment. They've asked for the contact detail, they've handed over in slow motion the phone, and as she takes it, he's thinking, I might get to touch her pussy because of what's about to happen. And then so she's, putting in, and he's got this tension building. He's like, I mean, he's probably not consciously thinking I better say something, but just like stuff starts burbling out. No, let that tension sit. This is a moment of triumph. Sit in that fucking pressure, motherfucker. It's a beautiful thing. She's putting her name down. She's putting numbers that, yes, make it more likely that you'll touch a vagina. So just chill about that. Even if inside you're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Just be like, Don't do any of that. Just do nothing. Again, one of these ones where the simple solution is shut the fuck up and let her put the phone in, the number in. Here he is again. This one's not as bad, but okay, so he's doing noises of like, touching buttons.
Super bright.
Super bright. You didn't need to say that. You didn't need to say that, Zeb. You're handing the phone. Okay, it is a bright day, but like, just super bright. No. It just breaks the tension. It's unnecessary. Shut the fuck up. Hand her the phone. Let her put the digits in. Take the phone. Text her later. Say, hi, I was really thinking that I'd like to touch your vagina sometimes. Can we have a coffee?
We exchange.
Okay, let me show
Here's
you.
another example, but I
Okay.
kind of like the way he does this one.
My keyboard is a little bit fucked, so it's a little bit different, the layouts, so.
Okay, if you do it like that, where you're just like, yeah, my keyboard's a little bit fucked, but the layout's something, that sounded pretty cool. I'll let him pass on that one. Don't do the bumbling phone caper. Not good. You can see that this one, I'm triggered by this. All right, I'll move on. The 7th deadly sin of the beginner day game mistakes is another one of these related to positioning, angles, the way that you physically block the situation. And I mean that in the acting terms, where you're blocking it as opposed to getting in front, you know what I mean? If you don't, it doesn't matter. So, if you have a situation where a girl is seated on a park bench, for example, and you're walking over to talk to her, then it's really important that you don't do this.
No, I'm from Germany. I just lived in Hungary for a year, but those are my last days, so yes.
Last day is now. You're leaving.
Yes, I'm leaving next week.
Okay, so this went on for another 15 minutes, this interaction. Now, the problem was nothing to do with what he was saying. It was the fact that for the entire interaction, which was long, it was 15, 20 minutes, she's sitting down and he's standing up. So it never appears to anybody, him, her, or the outside world, that this interaction is settled, right? They're not two people chilling out together. It's very clearly still a man coming and doing his thing, trying to run his game on a girl who's in a solid seated position, and he's hovering, right? So what you want to do if you're approaching a girl who's seated and there's somewhere else to sit, sometimes we can't because she's just on one little stool in the middle of a field and there's nowhere else for you to sit. But for the most part, there'll be some kind of bench action that you can get involved in. What you want to do is you want to approach on the 45 degrees. Again, we're not approaching directly in front if she's sitting down because then I'm looming above her. So I'm approaching on a 45. I open, I say my highs, I introduce myself, I chat for a little bit, 10 seconds, 20 seconds or something like that. And then very quickly, I ask if I can join her as I'm joining her, right? So what I don't do is say, introduction, and say, oh, look, would it be cool if I could just maybe take a seat for a minute, right? Because it's easy for her to say no and it feels awkward already, so nah. Be presumptuous about it. So instead, I'll do my little bit of an introduce, give my compliment, something like that, and then I just presumptuously ask to sit as I'm sitting. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, do you mind if I sit with you and chat for a moment? As I'm sitting down, and then there I am settled, and now we're a couple sitting in the park or sitting on a park bench, and then we can run the interaction from here. So, after I'd explained this to Zeb, his next interaction looked a bit like this.
You look picturesque, like you're out of a movie or something.
Oh, thank you.
And you're taking photos of yourself too. So you can capture the moment. Do you mind if I sit with you for a sec?
No.
So,
I speak.
Beautiful there, because he says, do you mind if I sit with you for a sec? Which is a polite gentlemanly thing to be doing. And then he's just sitting down by the time she went, oh, no, as in, no, I don't mind.
Perfect.
Speak a little bit of English,
I will try to use
practice the sexy
smaller words.
and then we're away.
Excuse me.
And then here's me doing it to a girl who's
You just that previous
asleep.
pose. It kind of looked like you'd been shot and landed in an attractive position.
That's a weird opener,
Yeah.
but that
Are you
was,
okay?
it worked.
Did you have a big night?
All right, so a
You're
bit of
just
little
chilling.
rapport yet, allowing her to wake up and not be lying down.
Can I sit for a second? I can't hear you.
So there you had it. She was mumbling and talking quietly. Turned out she was a Turkish doctor who'd had a big night. And then I say, I can't hear you. I'm going to take a seat. And I just sit down. Now we're locked in. Now this interaction is solid. Right? So takeaway from this is you don't want to be hovering for much more than 30 seconds. After you've got the initial hi, made a good impression, say, all right, do you mind if I sit with you for a moment? Plonk yourself down and then continue on from there. The final mistake that I want to cover today is a bit of a tragic one. It really is, because it represents love lost and hot sex not had. These are situations where the couple should have gotten together, where they both wanted to get together, but it didn't happen. Why? Why was that? Not because anybody got in the way, but because the guy did not register the cues and the signals that the woman was giving. So there's kind of two problems that are happening here. One is a lack of awareness, so not picking up when a girl is giving you signals. Women, when they're being seductive or flirty back, tend to be fairly subtle about it, right? They're not going to come up to you and say, excuse me, boy, I saw you from down the street and I had to say that you had such a chipper ass and a finely turned calf, and I like the cut of your jib, my son. They don't do that. They never will. It's probably for the best. But they definitely do give signals of interest when they're interested, and you've got to be able to pick up on those, because those are the easy wins. That's where the girl's trying in her seductive language to say, I am interested. I would like to go and have the 200 milliliters of alcohol prerequisite in order for me to go home and fuck with you. That's what she's saying. But because the guy doesn't see it, doesn't read the cues, he misses it. And then the second thing that can happen, which is kind of a deeper thing, I guess, is that there's a mindset that the guy has, which is that this girl wouldn't like me, right? Like it's essentially going in with a losing mindset. And I see this often at the beginning of workshops. We certainly tidy that up pretty quickly, actually. But this is one that a lot of men carry around with them often for their entire lives if they don't shake this mindset, which is that I'm not worthy. it doesn't work with me. Women don't like me. I could never get a girl like that. She was probably just being friendly and polite. Any of these stories that you're telling yourself to delete, distort, and remove any evidence to the contrary. So the two things with this, I'll show you a couple of tragic examples in a moment. Like when I watched these last night when I was prepping this video, I was like, no, but it could have been so easy. Like it is, it sucks because they both wanted it and he just bailed. Anyway, you can share in my cringe, my pain in a moment. But it's important to note that, okay, if a woman is asking you questions, almost any questions, that means she's interested in the first interaction, because otherwise they do not. Especially if she's asking any questions about, so what are you doing later, now, soon? What are your plans for tonight? Who are you here with? How long are you going to be? How much longer are you in town? Like any of these kind of logistical related questions, why would she give a shit about that if she wasn't trying to become part of your plans? So any signals like that. And any physical compliments, most men have received so few physical compliments in their life that if they ever get one, they kind of just delete it. Like most pretty girls, all pretty girls have been told they're pretty and hot and cute and sexy forever. When was the last time someone said to you, you're fucking sexy, man. You're handsome. Your eyes are I could get lost in them. There you go. You can keep those. They're for you. Not often, right? We don't get that much. So if a girl is complimenting you on anything, that's a very good sign. So pick up on these cues. And then the other one, okay, the internal one, I can't give you a quickly believe in yourself, because that's not necessarily going to happen instantly. But you need to, at some point, accept the fact that some women are going to like you and want to fuck you. Like you're going to have to absorb that as a fact, right? You're going to have to really internalize that as a reality. And, right, the best way to do that is by going out and sourcing proof. By actually going out and meeting lots of different women and experiencing the range of possibilities from the fuck yous to the, I'm not interested, to the, sorry, I've got a boyfriend, to the oh, maybe, to the yeah, I'm interested in you, to the hey, sailor boy, you look sexy and I want to, that one you may not get. And to see, okay, these are the realities that, yes, some women are going to be interested in me. And if I'm doing the steps, I'm moving things progressively forward. I'm complimenting her, getting to know her a little bit, telling her stuff about me, qualifying her, asking her out. And at all these stages, she's saying yes and accepting and contributing. And especially if she's asking me stuff back or making it easy for me to do, then all of this is evidence that, yes, girls are going to like you. So let's watch this tragic could-have-been love story between Zeb and a cute Hungarian girl. It didn't happen because for no reason other than that he just didn't ask her out. And she did everything that she could. She did good game and he just didn't ask her.
Well, it was nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
Oh, nice to meet you. Nice to meet
I
you.
wanted to just compliment you and say you look great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very kind.
Oh, she likes
Yes,
it. Very kind, man.
Where do you come from?
I'm from New York.
She's asking questions.
Are you here for the cars?
Why are you here in
What's
this
it called?
place?
Formula 1?
I'm not.
Formula One?
I saw the big crowds of people yesterday and I had to ask them what was happening. I'm here on an adventure, on holiday. I'm traveling for 4 months.
Adventuring holiday man.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Well, I'll have a great time.
Same to you.
Thank you.
All right, good luck.
Thanks for coming.
Good luck.
You're welcome.
It was fun. Thank you.
Yes, bye.
Just it's weird because it looks like he's trying to get rid of her. Like at the end, she's like, thanks for telling me it was really nice. And he's like, oh, yes, thank you. And I remember when I sat down with him, I was like, did you really not like her? And he's like, no, she was hot. And I was like, so you didn't decide that you just wanted to end this interaction? He's like, no. And I was like, why did you just leave? And he's like, I don't know. So, it's a situation where a girl is giving as many cues as she can that they're wrapping up the conversation. She had to go off to meet her sister or something. And she's asking him stuff about where he's from, why he's here. He's reiterating the fact that he was complimented her. She's telling her how nice and kind that was. And then as she's walking away, she looks back and she looks back again, multiple look backs. That was a hot fuck that should have happened. And it was lost on my watch. And I take responsibility. As the dating coach, it's my fault if my man falls down. It's my fault if a vagina is not serviced. And I will not stand for it. And I will do better. I promise. All right. I think that's it. There you go. There's my 8 deadly beginner mistakes that you shall not make You shouldn't, you shan't, and you won't do it again. I'm sure you won't. A lot of the time, the initial part of getting good at this is fixing the problems, getting rid of the stuff that's not working, and then what you're left with is a really kind of basic skeleton that's not very flash. It's not going to win any Oscars. It's not the most amazing banter or anything, but it functions and it works. And that's the good thing about seduction. I've said this before. It ain't rocket science. It's not a perfect science. It doesn't need to be incredible to work. It needs to be better than whatever other options she's got going on right now or in the last or next 24 hours. It's got to be good enough that the girl's like, oh, okay, there's a dude and he's talking to me. He had the balls. You get a lot of points for that. He's got the balls to talk to me. He's here. He doesn't smell weird. He didn't try and block me. He didn't repeat everything that I said. He's not talking absurdly fast. And when I give him my cues of like, well, so I'm just a lonely damsel who's got nowhere to go and nobody to fuck tonight. So what are you doing here? Picks up on those kind of cues. Then it works. That's good. That's good news. It needs to function. It needs to be competent. Don't need to be perfect. All right. That's all I got time for today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And very important reminder, again, tomorrow, the 5 Principles of Natural Seduction Brotherhood is opening for enrollments and only for 7 days, as in there's only 7 days that you can join, after which I shut it so I can coach the guys. This is 6 months of mentorship with me. If you're unable to come halfway across the planet spending many thousands of euros to train with me in person, in Budapest, for example, then this is absolutely your next best thing for a way cheaper price, and you can do it from the comfort of your own city, home, country. You can learn the full spectrum of my theoretical and practical frameworks for natural seduction, the legendary 5 principles, and to have mentorship with me, accountability systems, so you can touch base with me basically every day. I'm on the private Telegram chat where guys post up, I texted this girl last night and she didn't reply. What do I say to this? And I got an answer for you. Or I had a date last night and it went really well until this weird thing happened and then we didn't have sex. Why was that? And we can break it down. Then every month you'll be getting on live webinars with me where I go through mini lectures on the content, but most importantly, set you missions and keep you accountable. Because I've seen this many times before. Guys come to a workshop or they do an online program. They get all the information that they need, right? They have the skills. They know functionally what to do. But then many of them just don't do it. And which sucks because I put in all this hard work and they did too. And then they just don't continue. You need minimum 6 months of focusing on this in a fairly dedicated way. It doesn't mean you can't still have a life and a job or whatever. But you need to emphasize this for a good chunk of time before the skills become inbuilt, before it becomes something that you're just not going to lose again. So initially, when you're starting to get into this, it is delicate and it is hard initially to get into the habits that mean you get enough impressions, enough approaches, enough reference experiences that you're getting real results, and then you can go, cool, I know how to do pickup. I can go and, when I'm single in my life, which you will be a number of times, I can go out into the dating world and I can choose my next lover instead of waiting for the apps or fate to deliver them to me. And in order to get through that beginner's hell or that initial period where people bail out, not because the thing itself is so difficult to do, but because the motivation, keeping your mindsets healthy, and creating enough social momentum, yes, that can be difficult. Back in the day, people did that by going out with their mates. That's how I did it initially. And a lot of guys don't have good wingmen these days, so allow me to be your wingman, your wing daddy, for the next 6 months to keep you accountable, give you missions, give you feedback, and also to be able to give you critique on your infield, because you can send me recordings of your infield approaches, and then I'll be analyzing them, breaking them down, just like I do when I'm teaching a live workshop, and then posting those back onto the membership site as well. So you'll get to actually have the real feedback on your own specific approaches that guys pay me many 1,000 to come and get in real life, and much more. Huge range of bonuses, lots of cool shit. So stay tuned for tomorrow where the official announcement drops and you can get on board, and I hope to see you in the course, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.